All right, welcome to Dual Redundancy, the only podcast where you can hear all latest in television and entertainment news with too many hosts with exactly the same opinions. I'm one of those hosts, David Allen, and another one is
John Berwick. The third one is
Kyle Bridger. I would say that I am the Jet to John's Spike to Dave's Asimov. You got a case of the pink eye or the red eye? I don't want to start any rumors, but you got a case of something.
I'll get some whatever weird psychedelic drug, and maybe I can find from the Bebop spaceship pantry. Maybe I can figure out what they were doing there on Cowboy Bebop. And then we're also going to talk about Hawkeye, two kind of sci-fi shows having their series premieres, in a way, at least for Cowboy Bebop, because it's a live action premiere of that series. We got some coming attractions. We have this first segment too, and John, just what is it?
In and out points.
In or the out. In or the out. In, out, in, out, in, out, in or the out.
Yes, it is in and out points over Thanksgiving break. Hope we all enjoyed our Thanksgiving break. Ridley Scott had a new movie, House of Gucci. It premiered and it was number 3 at the box office behind Encanto and Ghostbusters Afterlife. Its worldwide $34 million gross so far is already higher than Ridley Scott's other film this year that came out, October's The Last Duel, which has made only $28 million to date. The cause, according to Scott, why did the Last Duel fail when Gucci is doing much better? According to Scott, millennials. It's all our fault, guys. This is it. This is our fault.
We're not even millennials anymore, are we?
No, we're still going to be more.
We're still the millennial generation.
Oh, no. I mean, like, the people he's blaming have shifted younger, I think. You know what I mean?
We'll get to that. That's for sure. We'll get to that. So, on Mark Maron's WTF podcast, while he praised Disney's promotion of the film, he blamed apathetic millennials on the film's failure. He said, quote, "I think what it boils down to, what we've got today are the audiences who are brought up on these effing cell phones." He didn't say effing. The millennium do not ever want to be taught anything unless you're told it on a cell phone. This is a broad stroke, but I think we're dealing with it right now with Facebook. This is a misdirection that has happened where it's given the wrong kind of confidence to this latest generation, I think. All right, we got his statement here. John, you're shaking your head. What's the issue? It's our fault. It's our problem.
No, I don't even know what this movie's about. I don't remember seeing any marketing for it. I don't know anything about it. A, and B, don't blame me if your movie's not good enough to catch my attention. Like, I'm busy as hell doing stuff. I mean, yeah, I use my phone, but I'm not sitting here Googling, whatever, kids want to Google these days. I do stuff with my life. Don't blame me for not going to see your movie in the middle of a pandemic.
No, it's your fault, John. Kyle, it's also your fault.
Yeah, it's all my fault, along with the other 80 other things that are blamed on millennials every day. This is old man. Yeah. Old man yells at, wall. That's what it is, because
the Facebook wall. He's yelling at the Facebook wall.
Yeah.
But Red Lobster's dying.
But it's just like this guy is blaming a generation that didn't grow up with cell phones. Like I didn't get my first cell phone, till like 17. And we're talking T9 word here. We're not talking A, B, C, yeah. We're not talking internet access smartphone. He is blaming the generation behind us.
Yeah.
And even that is misguided, because now you're going to blame the audiences for your movie not doing well, and you're not taking any accountability or responsibility for anything that you did for this movie or why it didn't pan out well. So you go to blame. That seems like a very irresponsible, young, Gen Z thing to do.
Plus,
it's just so absurd and dumb. And if you think that things are changing, hey, why don't you change with the times? Or maybe change something. If you think the times are changing, don't be me mad. Me no do movies the same anymore. Like what the heck, man?
Because there was another medieval type movie this summer that caught the eye of a lot of people. The millennials was The Green Knight with Dev Patel, I believe, A24 film that caught attention. Obviously, Game of Thrones. You ever heard of that? That caught people's attention. So it's not like, we don't believe in the subject matter or the type of film that he's making. Maybe it's just we didn't like this film or we didn't know about this film. There's so many people that I've talked to, you guys included, some other friends as well. The marketing, he says Disney did a great job. I think it was a bad job because you have a film with Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, Adam Driver, Jodie Comer, directed by Ridley Scott. People didn't even know it existed. That came out. Yes, it came out last month. And, maybe it was the film because from what I gather, I haven't seen the film yet. It was on my list, but also at the same time, I saw that the subject matter, it's a medieval film dealing with rape. It's like, yeah, maybe I won't risk my life during a pandemic for that right now. Maybe I don't. That doesn't seem like a fun evening at the movies.
Not to mention that, and it's rated R, and you're gonna blame young people for not going to see something rated R. Like, I mean, there's a fine line between young people and eligible to see a rated R movie. There's only a few years in there worth of people.
Yeah, he definitely got the terms wrong because millennials are like the 25 to 40. That's a millennial, I guess, crazily enough. But it's Gen Z is what he's like talking about. But then again, Gen Z probably wasn't eligible to see this film. It's rated R. They're not able to see it, so it's not their fault. And Facebook, that's your thing in your statement. That's the oldest social media. The people on Facebook now are 40, 50, 60-year-olds. Yeah. The millennials in the TikTok audience is not on Facebook.
Yeah. He's just all over the place. He's just mad at something. And millennials have been, that word is now a buzzword for anything that is younger than, you are. It's a younger generation, and they're the ones to blame. He probably doesn't even know. He doesn't even know what age range millennials are in. No, he probably doesn't even know.
Yeah, go get your avocado toast, and I don't know.
But again, you can't. How can you blame? And it's like
the audience didn't want it, so it's They didn't want it.
Yeah. What can you do? You make something that either people want or, you change the marketing to make it available to the people that you want to see it. If you want millennials to see it, maybe you talking about Facebook, maybe that was the wrong
put it on their phone.
Yeah. It's just so stupid, man.
Yeah. Real quick, he also is a little bit under fire for House of Gucci. The family, the Gucci family, has seen it. They're criticizing parts of the film, including Al Pacino's portrayal of someone in the Gucci family, and he responded to that criticism. How could they be better represented than by Al Pacino? Excuse me? You probably have the best actors in the world, so you should be so effing lucky. He loves throwing the F-bomb around, this guy. Yeah, you should be so lucky that Al Pacino is playing you in a movie.
But just because he's a good actor doesn't mean he's the right actor.
Yeah.
Or is
or the character isn't, or the character isn't obscenely like an abhorrent character that everyone hates. Just because Al Pacino's playing him doesn't mean that the character doesn't suck.
Yeah. All right. Well, we'll wait and see if any of this will have anything to do with the rest of the box office or with Oscars or anything like that. But all right.
It just sounds like old man yelling, dude. Jeez Louise.
Maybe he should have waited until next year to release these films, because that is when potentially MoviePass is back. Stacy Spikes, the co-founder of MoviePass, says that the movie ticket subscription service is planning to relaunch. MoviePass, we all remember the biggest thing in, I think it was like 2017, before it collapsed in an epic, beautiful fashion in 2019. They later filed for bankruptcy in 2020, and they were later under investigation by the FTC, the SEC, and the New York Attorney General. But they're back, baby.
How?
Crazy.
That's my question.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got some of that AMC stock.
Yeah.
Yeah, they shorted them. Now, Spikes, what he did was he placed a bid to acquire MoviePass out of bankruptcy. It was initially listed in June 2020, and there was 0 competitive bids for MoviePass for anyone to buy it.
Mm-hmm.
But then this summer, Spikes got the money together, and while we don't know the official bid, we do know it was lower than the $250,000 minimum bid that was set in 2020. So that was the bid they set in 2020. It's $250K. Who wants it? No one. Next summer, Spikes here bought it for less than $250, which sounds like a deal. Why didn't we guys?
Yeah, I know. I was
jump
gonna
in on
say.
this?
I was gonna say. It sounds like we could have bought this thing. So we could have rallied up our lunch money to get this.
We could have used our Squid Game currency and
Yeah.
buy this. But they're hoping to relaunch next year, and they already have a new logo. I want to show the old logo first, John. Can we get the old logo? Here it is. MoviePass, the classic red. All right. What do they got? What do they have for this change? Let's see it. Let's drum roll. All right, here it is. That's it. That's the new logo.
All righty.
It's the same logo. Instead of red, now it's black.
Mm-hmm.
White writing still, they kept that. MoviePass. Is that going to solve it, John? There you go. Is that the winning?
Maybe you pay less on ink. I don't know.
Maybe. No,
yeah.
black ink is a lot. If anything, they should have made it white background, black letters. But,
Yeah. Isn't there a saying like you can't shine a turd or something like that?
I think so.
There's something
like
probably.
that.
I think that's probably sums this up. I mean, I don't know how. What a terrible time. What a terrible time to relaunch this thing.
Right.
I mean, or maybe it's the best time. I don't know. Maybe this guy's a genius.
I mean, maybe this will be the upswing out of the pandemic that everyone, AMC and everyone's waiting for. Who knows?
Well, it's interesting because I'm wondering if this will even work and if other theaters are going to play ball, because AMC, Alamo, Regal, they already have their own services. After MoviePass launched, they came up with their own subscription service, A-List, Regal Unlimited, stuff like that. So, like, will they even want to work with MoviePass when they have their own system that they want and built themselves?
No.
And
Why
if-
would
and
they?
if-
I
Yeah,
was,
so like, what movie theaters are going to be available? AMC, Regal, some of the largest chains are like, no, we're not
Yeah.
doing this. And then the small mom and pop ones are going to be like, you guys under investigation by all these like legal entities. No, I don't think we're going to let you charge us, like these movie fees. No.
Yeah. I was just thinking the updated MoviePass is you meet a guy in a trench coat in the alley and they sneak you into the theater via the emergency exit.
They
You pay.
they pass you a DVD they burnt
pass
yesterday.
the system. You
Yeah.
pass the movie theater and go in the
Yeah.
alley. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. But yeah, I don't know. I will say it seems like some people are ready to go back to theaters. There was this new report published actually in Variety yesterday. It was by a film research company and a consulting firm. And they said that movie theaters can attract more customers with vaccine mandates. And get this, guys, sit down. They can attract more customers with lower ticket prices. This is a bombshell. This is something. Wow. this
Yeah.
company, get them the Pulitzer right here. How did they figure this out? Lower ticket prices. Wow.
Who would have thought? Who would have thought that somebody wouldn't be willing to pay $20 to go possibly, infect themselves? But I mean, it's like the worker shortage thing. It's like, hey, you know what could be a solution? If you pay higher wages, that might work too. It's the same thing. It's like paying somebody to do the obvious thing. But I mean, I would be more likely to go if I knew that there was set standards in place that I knew that were going to be adhered to.
Yeah.
I would be much more likely to go.
Yeah, and we're thankfully lucky in New York, at least in the city. I believe most theaters are supposed to do that, just like restaurants are supposed to check for vaccine status. And according to this survey, 59% say they don't feel safe in theaters, and at least a third of them, or 33% surveyed, want to present proof of COVID vaccination. To feel that kind of level of safety in a theater.
I think it's just a length of time. I think it's just a length of time in one place that is the most dangerous thing. Because I mean, a restaurant, maybe hour and a half. Yeah. We're talking like 2.5 hour, 3 hour movie. That's a long time.
And then 3 hours of trailers and
yeah.
But 70% of avid moviegoers and 66% of infrequent moviegoers would go more if it was less expensive. How is that number not 100%? I don't understand that. How is that number not? Yeah, I'd go. Yeah, if the prices stay the same. It's like, no, I would run out to the theater right now. Oh, it's $2. Okay, I'm in.
Yeah, mark it up $3, and I'll be there more often.
Yeah, that would change my mind. I think I would go if it was like $3 for sure.
But all right, that's movies. We're going to talk about a TV series in our last in and out point. Written, directed by Stephen Merchant. This BBC series, The Outlaws, did a very outlaw type thing when a character played by Christopher Walken painted over an original Banksy painting or a spray paint graffiti thing there. There's a real Banksy in this show, and it was painted over by Christopher Walken's character. Walken is a part of a minor criminal like rehabilitation thing where they're working on buildings as part of their community service project. And in the final episode, his character uncovers an image of 2 cans of spray paint near a rat and asks his PO officer, hey, should I paint over this? And unbeknown to the officer, he didn't know it was a famous original artwork here, and they painted over, so it's gone. John, what do you think?
I don't know. I never got the hype for these works of arts. I mean, yeah, they're well done, they're cool, but I feel like graffiti is kind of meant to be not transient, but like disappear after a while. You know, it gets painted over, it gets power washed off. Like, I don't know. It to me, it doesn't feel like that big of a deal. But I know for some people it's like a huge thing, and you know, there's this whole mystery behind who is Banksy and all this, and it's like, yeah, it's you, yeah, all right. You know, it's I don't know. I get why someone might be like, oh no, don't do that, but at the same time, like, I feel like the medium is meant to be kind of the canvas recycled, and you know, like the constant war between the owners trying to clean up and the vandals trying to paint. I don't know.
So what's interesting with this, when I first saw this headline, I thought it was like a reality show that Christopher Walken was a part of, and like he painted over a real piece of art from this artist. But it is a scripted show by Stephen Merchant, but it is still a real piece of artwork because according to the New York Post, this set piece was brought in with permission from him and under the rule that it would be destroyed in a one-take scene.
Okay.
So this was part of it. He's okay with this being painted over because he wanted it destroyed.
Who, Banksy or Stephen Merchant?
Banksy. Yeah.
Okay.
So he allowed it to be painted over because he wanted it painted over in the show.
But
Stephen Merchant.
how do Like, does Banksy have a agent? Like, I thought he was supposed to be this entity that no one knows.
Maybe it's Stephen Merchant. Maybe that's how he got the
Maybe.
permission.
Jeez. I bet if Banksy was Stephen Merchant, we would see him graffitiing from a mile away. Isn't that guy like 1,000 feet tall and
That
look
is
like
true.
Gumby?
Yeah. How is it that nobody ever sees this guy painting? I mean, his things are so elaborate. Like, how can you not just? I don't get it. For me though, I'm sorry, but I would tell him, yes, of course, we'll paint over, and then immediately I would cut it out and sell it for.
Flip it.
Yeah.
These things sell for 20, 30, 40 million dollars. They sell for so much money. I'm sure Merchant's making money off the series, but he's not making 40 million, 50 million off of this series. It's just
No,
like,
he's getting that from The Office.
yeah, that's for sure. That's definitely for sure. But it's interesting because this is not the first time that like Banksy wanted his painting destroyed. I don't know if you ever saw this where there was like a painting that he did and it was like set up for auction, and then he somehow like rigged it so it would start shredding after it was sold. But then like the shredder thing didn't completely work correctly, so it stopped midway. But then because of this, it just like made the price skyrocket. So it's just like did the opposite effect. Where
It's
like
just
it made it
so
more valuable.
stupid. Yeah, he's like trying to set a precedent, and then it makes it even worse. It's like the opposite of the message.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Wow. Well, I don't know. That
But
one's
does
gone
he-
though. It's gone. You have to watch this series, The Outlaws, to see this piece of artwork because it's
Does
gone now.
he does Banksy tag his stuff, or how do people know?
That's a good question.
I think it's a
know.
style thing, but I honestly don't know.
Yeah, because at a certain point, somebody's going to copy that style and then pretend to be the real one,
And I
then
think people
we'll never
have.
know.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure people have.
So
So
maybe
how do we
Merchant
know?
was actually talking to the fake one.
Maybe there are several people who claim to be him as a team.
Maybe we're all
Oh.
Banksy. Like at the end of the day, it's like
in our own way. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, if anyone wants to paint over Dual Redundancy, join Facebook. They're taking us down. All right.
Oh my
Well,
God.
we have a show that's coming soon next year, and we're going to talk about it in our one of our favorite segments, coming attractions.
Here are some exciting coming attractions.
All right, we're talking about Pam and Tommy. This is going to drop on Hulu on February 2nd, 2022. This miniseries follows the marriage between Pamela Anderson and Tommy Lee following the release of the infamous unauthorized sex tape. All right, we saw the trailer. That's all we're going this, that's all we have to base anything off. And we'll start off with Kyle. Kyle, Pam and Tommy, you going to check it out?
For sure. The cast alone is enough to check out. But this, I was talking to John. This trailer, I think, is actually really, really well done because you hear Seth Rogen's VO in the background, and he's talking to Nick Offerman about the characters while those characters are showing up, but the characters are like outside in another shot, but he's clearly talking about the videotape. It gets the videotape involved, and then we see Pam Anderson and Tommy Lee in these different settings, and we get the crux of the series and what the problems are going to be and who the players are. It's a great trailer. Yeah. I think really, really well done. And I think didn't they use Lenny Kravitz as the song? So it's like even more 90s. I think it's really, really good. And just from the cast alone, I think you gotta at least check it out. Because it looks interesting, and I love the 90s. So now we're starting to get 90s stuff that's coming around, which is cool.
Over Stranger Things. Forget the 80s. We're in the 90s now. Yeah. Watching this, it was like, as you said, it's like this like fourth wall breaking, fast forwarding thing that they were doing where, they're fast forwarding through the tape. discussing who's in the tape, but they're discussing who's in the trailer to set up the show.
Yeah.
And it's like, the crux of the thing is about the tape, and they're using that as a way in the trailer. It's a very well-made trailer. They got the dial-up internet sound mixed in. And kind of makes sense in a way, because I saw it was directed by I, Tonya, the director who did I, Tonya. And I feel like we're going to get kind of that style with this. That's, that fourth wall breaking. Hey, this part isn't true. Like, it feels very like a different way to tell, a biofilm, a bio series like this. And yeah, as you mentioned, the cast and specifically the makeup department, what they did for the cast here, Lily James, Sebastian Stan as Pamela Anderson, and Tommy Lee.
Yeah.
It's scary how close they look, especially Lily James looking like Pamela Anderson. It's the same person
it's
on
pretty
screen.
wild.
It's wild. Before I go even farther down this, John, what did you think of the trailer?
Oh, I agree with everything you guys said. It's looking like it's shaping up to be pretty good. I definitely like the way they're framing it, and yeah, it's something to look forward to, I think.
Yeah. And then I feel like, the production design is there. The one thing it's going to be a fine line with the show is kind of the tape. Now, we're in 2021 here. I don't know if they can sensationalize the tape as much, because in the end, it's a sex crime, stealing and selling a private tape between two people. But at least the characters are already commenting on that. Like in the trailer, we get Nick Offerman's like saying, we're seeing something we shouldn't be seeing.
Yeah.
And, so it's like, it's going to be like that fine line of like, okay, we're going to, play this up. We're going to do the impeachment, like, oh, here's all the characters. Here's all the, the over the topness. But at the same time, are you going to tell like a human story? Do you have something to say still? Or is it just, no, we're just going to have fun. We're just going to, make fun of them. And so it's like, where's this going? So that's the one thing I'm worried about. Is it just like, hey, we put on some, some wigs and we're just going to make fun of them for, 6 episodes? Or is it going to be commenting on that?
I think they could, I hope they make a commentary about, because with that dial-up sound, this seems like the sex tape or whatever that bridged old analog and the digital verse as far as like porn and stuff like that. And this thing took off because Pamela Anderson at this time is a huge star. It's kind of like when we were talking about Arnold Schwarzenegger back in the day. He was a huge star. Pam Anderson was a huge star. Tommy Lee was all over the place just because he was like a celebrity just because he was kind of a wild dude, right? Yeah. So the two of them together,
it's a power couple kind of thing, because the two of them were together. It just raised their star status up a bit too.
Yeah. So they could really have a good social commentary about what's happening around that time. And what's interesting to me about the series is I know enough about it, but I don't know the inner workings of it. So I know there was a tape created, all this backlash happens, it kind of changes how people are viewing, these two individuals. So, but I don't really know the inner workings of how everything kind of went down. So that would be interesting to see.
And then 2 more people that we kind of glossed over a little bit, but Nick Offerman, Seth Rogen are in this as well. They're the people that end up stealing the tape. And I feel like it's like perfect casting. It's like those are like the 2 kind of sleazy 90s guys that like I get that makes sense. As soon as the casting was, I'm like, okay, that makes sense. It works.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely gonna check this out. I'm sure we'll talk about it on the podcast come February. It drops on 2/2/22 on Hulu. Groundhog's Day. But, all right. Well, that is that. We have 2 shows that are already out on streaming services. Let's talk about them. In order to talk about them, we have to go back. So, guys, send us back.
Back in time.
We're back, baby.
Gotta get back in time.
All right, we're starting with Hawkeye.
We're stalking Hawkeye.
We're stalking Hawkeye. Hawkeye, the series premiere, Never Meet Your Heroes, November 24th on Disney Plus. 1 year after the events of Endgame, Clint Barton must partner with Kate Bishop to confront enemies from his past in order to get back to his family in time for Christmas. All right, here. It's your favorite Avenger, Kyle, Hawkeye. What did you think of the show?
This thing, man. I'm gonna be honest. The Marvel people can come for me. This thing stinks.
For Kyle, not for us. I am not a Marvel super fan. None of us are. But
to be fair, I've only seen the first episode. This seems like ABC Family, ABC level content that they're trying to polish up for the streaming service. And I just don't know why this stuff is getting made. I'm assuming people are watching it. It's a great, right? It's a big IP attached to it. Hawkeye is part of the Avengers, all that jazz. But like, it just seems to me like something like this series immediately cheapens the brand that you have built with the movies. This thing stinks. I can't even.
I don't know. The Disney overlords just like took your
Kyle.
audio on my end and chopped it off so we couldn't even hear it.
Yeah,
they're not happy
my
with
internet
you.
connection is unstable. Disney is coming for me. I'm just saying, we have the dude that shoots arrows.
Yep.
Right? The
Yep.
least cool dude.
How dare you? Renner is
Cooler than
the
Aquaman.
coolest. I'm with you on this. For me, I don't know if I hated it as much as you. I thought it was just like, okay, it's fine. It's okay.
Yeah,
like there was nothing. It feels like pretty much low stakes.
Yes.
Compared to the
Yes.
rest of the films and TV series.
Yes.
I mean, the official synopsis is saying, is Hawkeye going to make it home for Christmas? Who cares? Who cares? Like, Loki has these timeline variants. WandaVision is in this alternate world where she's bringing people in there and they're like in a trance. It's like there's so much going on. This is like, well, it's Christmas time in New York and well, I'm in charge of the kids this weekend and I gotta make sure I get home. It's like,
Gotta go to the musical.
It's like, okay, yeah. Haley Steinfeld's character is this daughter of a rich businesswoman. It's like, oh no, my corner penthouse is destroyed.
Yeah.
Oh, I gotta go to a gala tonight. It's like, okay,
Dude, what is wild to me about that, right? That whole scene. So I'll mention a couple of things from that Avengers scene from the little girl that grows up to be Haley Steinfeld, right? So the perspective, I think it was cool. They showed the perspective of living in this Avenger world from a normal person. That really cool because it's insane. It's like taking acid and just like, you're like, what am I seeing here? Right? It's insane. I think that was really cool. My biggest gripe is she sees stuff blowing up. It's going crazy. And she sees Hawkeye from across the way shooting a bow and arrow when I can buy that at Dick's Sporting Goods. Are you kidding me?
Like, so for me, my favorite thing about Hawkeye, I think I probably mentioned this before. There's an SNL skit where I think it was when Renner was hosting after probably the first Avengers came out. And they're at the Battle of New York, this big thing here. And Iron Man is like, how many aliens did you get? And he's like, 200. Oh, how many you get? 250. Hawkeye, how many you get? 4. It's like the guy in Willy Wonka. It's like, I can't do just 4. And it's just like, well, I only brought 4 arrows. Like, it's just like there's no superhero thing about Hawkeye. He's good at archery.
Yeah.
Cool. Like, so we're the Boy Scouts. Like, but with all that being said, if you're a Marvel fan, you're probably gonna love this.
Yeah,
There's so
I
many
will
Easter
say
eggs. There's so
you'll
many
probably love it.
callbacks. They're auctioning off Avengers compound artifacts. You're seeing the events of Avengers 1 play out. And then we get the Steve Rogers Broadway musical about the Battle of New York. And it's a big Broadway musical. Can I nitpick something real quick about this musical?
Sure.
Okay. I know it's not Disney in this world, because it's, but Disney does like The Lion King and it's the Aladdin. It's these elaborate musicals, great costumes, lighting. These guys are dressed like they're in the high school production of this thing. They're wearing t-shirts and track jackets. The Hulk is wearing a green hoodie. Like, come on. There's no money in the Stark Fund to like give them some good costumes, old suits laying around. Like, come on. But and okay, there it is. But yeah, for me,
I thought with that said, I thought the musical was funny. I did like
it's a fun little thing for this like world.
Yeah.
But it's just like, you could do a little bit more.
Yeah, no,
you're on Broadway.
Of course.
I just realized I've been talking so much. John, is there anything that you want to bring up with MCU in this show?
No, I definitely agree with you guys, and having not seen Endgame or however many Endgames there were, I don't even know at this point, and everything in between, I'm lost. I mean, obviously it seems like Hawkeye is kind of going through some stuff about enemies he fought or the toll that whatever happened in Endgame took on him. And then the girl is obviously kind of like, oh, I want to be a superhero. It just seems like every 8-year-old like, oh, I want to be X superhero when I grow up, and it's kind of just feels like it's the story of someone doing that from what I got from the first episode. I mean, she is growing up and turns into this like martial arts master and archery master and can do all these calculations to get a weighted arrow to shoot perfectly and go through a bell tower and all this stuff. And it's just like, I don't know. It just feels too, I don't even want to say fairy tale or superhero, but it feels too unreal. I don't know. It doesn't really jive with me. And like I said, not seeing the 40 or so other prior material, I'm kind of sitting in the water here. I don't really have much to build on.
Yeah, and I feel like with this, as I mentioned, it's hard not to compare it to the other shows we've seen so far in Disney Plus, the Marvel shows, whether it's Loki or WandaVision. I feel like at least those, well, maybe it didn't work for everyone. They did something different, maybe something they couldn't really do in a movie. And I feel like this, at least what we've seen in the first episode, feels very much like just like the run-of-the-mill 90s to early 2000s movie that you would get. Like, for instance, the new husband or the new fiance or whatever, Vera Farmiga's character, this feels like a very Parent Trap style plot. It's like, is he out for her money?
Yeah.
And it's like it just seems so basic, at least at the start here. Maybe there's more to it and he turns out to be some famous comic book villain from episode 62 of this, maybe. But like, it just, on paper, the first episode, it just seemed very basic and very like, I don't know, there's just not something that makes it special, at least so far. And maybe it's supposed to be like a small, intimate, like, oh, it's just a little fun Christmas, series for you to like watch leisurely. But like, that's not what we've expected so much with the MCU. After all these different projects, we're expecting something big and different and exciting, and so far it's just not clicking.
Well, and I mean, that's what you have, and this is for everything on the Disney Plus platform, right? You with the movies, you have gone stratospheric with how much the budgets are. So when you get to these shows and it feels like a, ABC Family type thing, it just doesn't feel the same to me. And to me, if I saw this and I was a Marvel fan, I would be upset because it doesn't feel the same. It feels weaker. It feels supremely average. And it's like, why would I want to watch this? Maybe they were going for more family friendly fare with this stuff, with this series, but I don't know, man. To me, it just feels like a big slap in the face if I was a Marvel fan.
Yeah, and I think, John, you hit on this a little bit here of like, this character becoming a black belt at 15, which we got all that info from very expositional dialogue from our mom, where she's like, "Oh, you're amazing. I still remember when you got a black belt at 15." Yeah, the kid knows that. The parent wouldn't talk that way. But anyways, it's like, yeah, she grew up and fell in love with archery and did this whole thing. But that I don't understand as a character in this episode why she even like donned the costume at the auction when there was like an incident to save these people at the auction. Sure, her mom is upstairs. She cares about her mom. I get that. But all these other people, you could just tell, seem like a sleazy, like underground, are they up to no good? They just feel like villains. So it's like for her to like risk her life, against guns and all this stuff, it just seems like so far-fetched, but it was only there because, well, obviously she has to have that first thing where she's wearing a costume that's not her size. And then, she learns the ropes from Hawkeye and then she becomes her own. Like, it just felt like the beats we've seen so many times before.
Yeah.
And we're just pushing it this way without really establishing the character as to why she would do that for these people in that situation.
Yeah. Yeah. This series is already too much of a good thing for me. It's just too, you're going to overload. You're going to saturate the market. I mean, at what point, when is it too much?
I don't know. I think they're going to try to figure it out soon. I'm going to see if I can pull up a list of like what's to come. I mean, I just did a basic thing on this Marvel wiki here, but it's like, I think all these ones are coming. Maybe it's like Moon Knight, She-Hulk, Miss Marvel, Secret Invasion. Like there's all these like different titles of Disney Plus things that are coming. And it's just, if you think these 3 or 4 that we've had now, expect 3 or 4 a quarter probably at this point come 2022.
Well, I mean, they do have a streaming service that they got to supply content for, so I get it, but
yeah, I'm trying to see here if I can find the correct number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's at least 10, 11. There's a few dozen that there's in development right now. So it's far from over. From over. But all right, I think that's it. And again, we probably should have said this more at the front. Like, we're not Marvel fans. We're not Marvel super fans. So it's just like we just don't know this world as much as our friends like Nick Boyle does and stuff like that. It's just maybe this all works its way into something in the larger scheme of things. But right now, it feels small. It just feels like why are we doing this here? Like, what are we leading to? But I don't know.
Yeah, I will say maybe I'm coming at it from the wrong angle. If I look at this as like a kid's show, I completely understand now. But
maybe it wasn't made for us.
Maybe not. Maybe I'm looking at it all wrong. It could be.
It's not made for the apathetic millennials, Kyle. It's the Gen Z.
Yeah, I got to remember that.
All right. Well, we have one other show to talk about tonight. We're going to go over to Netflix. We're going to talk about Cowboy Bebop, the series premiere, Cowboy Gospel. It dropped November 19th, set in the year 2171. This sci-fi series is based off the 1998 Japanese anime series that stars John Cho as a bounty hunter chasing down criminals across the solar system in the Bebop spaceship. All right, I want to start off with John because I believe John at least has seen the original anime series back in the day. So, John, what did you think of this new live action series and maybe how it compares to what you remember of the old anime?
I watched that back in high school, I think. So it's been a while. It's been like 10 years. So I don't remember it as vividly as maybe some other people would, but they definitely took a lot of the stylistic cues from that and basically copy pasted it to this, which in some ways is a really good thing. We have the title sequence, which has some of the greatest music from TV or animated series that you could probably find. And it's the same music. They cut the title sequence in a very similar style, and I think that works really well. Where I think it falls a little short is I think some of the fight sequences felt a little weird, because there's a lot of things you can do in an anime that you can't do in real life. Just the way people move and the things they do and their motivation behind things, I think, is a little bit harder to translate into live action. But overall, I liked it more than I thought I would. I'd been hearing from a lot of people who were familiar with the source material, but more than me, that they didn't really like it. I thought it's all right so far. Again, I only saw one episode, and it seemed okay. I kind of think that some of the acting was a little, especially some of the more minor villains that were kind of present in the episode. They were far out there, which makes sense again in an anime, but is a little bit harder to sell as a physical human moving around. But I don't think I would let it stop me from watching some more to see how it goes. I had seen some cherry-picked clips that were of future episodes that weren't spoiler, but weren't they weren't like great situations. A little bit awkward dialogue and stuff like that. So I kind of can see where it has some downfalls, but overall, it seems like it's okay so far.
Yeah, I'm kind of mixed on it too, where some of the things I liked are also some of the things I didn't like. Like some things really clicked, and then other things didn't click for me, and they're all in the same categories in a weird way. Like I liked the entrance of our character Spike, the kicking of the coin in the air, and we get some like fun, goofy 70s, B-movie music, and it felt very much like the Guardians of the Galaxy with like the style and the music and the humor. And as you said, the opening credits, the music, it's just like the way it was cut, it was just like, oh, right. Like it just felt different and like it was just upbeat and just, like grooving. But then some of the other music, because, they kind of do this like easy listening elevator jazz throughout. And then we get like this slow-mo romantic music between our hero and Katarina. And it's just like, felt a little cheesy. It felt a little over the top, like the slow-mo, really, the eyes locking. It just, maybe it worked better, yeah, in animation, but in the real life, it just felt weird to me, a little over the top. But I got a bunch of other things I want to get into. But Kyle, what are your thoughts on the show?
I enjoyed it. I think I probably have the same problems with it that you do. When they were trying to do like that nowhere like esque, like fading to like this dream sequence of Spike's character, just threw me out. It was like, no, sometimes the music stingers, very, very cheesy, that I didn't like, but I did like the action. I do like the characters, especially our hero, John Cho's character and Jet, that guy, they're both cool. I like kind of the world that they've set up. And normally I'm not like big into like I guess like
space.
Yeah, space and
Sci-fi,
science fiction or whatever, but I feel like this has a good vibe. It has like a almost like a Rust look to it, but we're in outer space, which is still cool. So I like the
It reminded
production.
me of like a real quick, like of Wild Wild West, if you remember that
Yeah.
movie, where
Yeah.
it's like you're mixing like old school cowboy stuff with like future tech. Because
Yeah.
there's like that drug to the eye
Yeah.
thing that we get at one point in this, and I don't know if it's a good or bad thing to compare it to Wild Wild West because there's that whole movie had its own issues, but like it's like it's like this steampunk like
Yeah.
cowboy future.
It's old future tech, not new
Yeah.
shiny future tech,
Yeah.
and,
Yeah.
and I think
It
that
looks
gives
wear
it
and tear.
yeah, it gives it a lot of character, I think, and that's one of the things that I like a lot is that the ship that they're in is this big ship that can go light speed through space and all this, and he was born on Mars, and they travel around, and meanwhile they're trying to jump into some warp thing, and they can't close one of the shutters on the window because it won't retract all the way because it's broken. Like stuff like that, I think gives it a good feeling, and it really paints the scene as to who they are and where they fit into this world, I think.
Yeah, and I like the kind of like the storyline so far, the bounty hunter situation, and the rapport between the characters. I think it has a lot of good qualities that outweigh kind of the weird stuff that I probably could get used to. And I'm right there with John as far as the villain when he when he's kind of introduced at the end, it's like, this is so cheesy. Like, I'm supposed to be afraid of this guy,
Yeah,
but
like the wig. It's just like
yeah,
I know he
it's-
looked like that in the comics, but like really, like
yeah, yeah,
uh,
it's a little silly.
yeah, and sometimes like the dialogue with these like sci-fi shows, we've talked about it a bunch, like the Foundation and all this other stuff, where it's just like some of it can be like kind of cliche, where it's like, we have to take them alive, and then they kill one, or it's like, um, I'm not a cop. Well, what are you? I'm just a humble bounty hunter. It's just like, it's like lines we've seen so many times before in different shows and in westerns and this and that. It just feels like, yep, you got to have that line in this at some point. And
Yeah.
one character that I liked, I don't know, could get annoying, at a certain point, if we play into it too much, is Faye. I liked her introduction and meeting Jet Black, and it's like, hey, F you. Like, it's
Yeah.
just like, it could work. It all depends on the dialogue that she's given.
And I don't know if this is me interpreting it different, but I think in the actual anime, she's kind of there to be not annoying, but to be a antagonist within the group to some degree. Kind of a different voice within there, that trio that they have right now. So I think that's kind of appropriate that she's not necessarily meshing with them all the way.
Yeah, and she's definitely obviously causing issues because the main kind of plot of this first episode is John Cho is trying to track down Katarina and her boyfriend there, but then Faye wants to get Katarina and bring her back to Dad. So it's like these two bounty hunters both wanting the same prize kind of thing, and they're constantly fighting with each other so much that it allows the subjects to escape all these different times. And I really thought that was going to kind of be like the season, like the chase all season to get Katarina and all stuff. But no, like this first episode, bye Katarina, shot to smithereens here, and then we get these. I'm like, oh, maybe it's these Men in Black kind of guys, in the suits, or that maybe they're going to be the villains. And it's like, no, it's the main one. Boom, he meets his demise pretty quick too, and it's just like, okay, who's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, all that action was cool. It was very intense. I liked all that. But I had the same thing. It's like a lot of stuff is happening, and it's all really cool. With the production design, you get put in these different worlds, and it goes from like big, like macro, to very small, like in like a cantina. Right. It is those cool moments that I think are great about this show. There's something else I was going to mention. Oh, I'm sure we'll get to this, but the villains, the chick that's with the villain used to be
my next question.
Used to, because we have Spike who gets asked, "Oh, were you ever in love?" And he was like, "Once, but like she lied to me, or like I was a fool or something like that. Doesn't he say that?
Like he said, he was dreaming.
Oh, he was dreaming.
I think.
Well, I was
but-
wondering, yeah, because like I might have missed that at one point, because we see this big flower tattoo at
Yeah.
the end on the girl. I'm like, wait, am I supposed to know who this is? Maybe like I know there was like those little flashes throughout the episodes, and
Yeah.
That's-
I was watching it, admittedly on
You'll-
the train on my iPad, so I didn't really get the full.
if I remember the anime correctly, that's kind of something that develops over the course of the entire story.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think the implication was that they were together. I mean, but I got to be honest, I was with you,
Damn
Dave,
you,
'cause
vicious. Yeah.
I was on the train too, and I get nervous about watching stuff on the train when it gets to like
Yeah.
sexy time scenes. So I'm like, I don't know how intense this is getting, but it was getting like very voyeuristic. So I'm just like, I'm just gonna fast forward here to like tap 10 here.
Yeah, I was worried. I had a bunch of shows to watch on the train. It's like, well, it's either these two, or I could watch the new How To with John Wilson episode. But then I remembered some of the episodes from season 1. I'm like, no way I can watch that on the train. No way. So that's a home viewing show. Let me try Cowboy Bebop, see if I can watch that on the train. But,
Yeah. All the
so-
blood and guts you want, but God forbid.
Mm-hmm. So I gotta ask, guys, do you think you're gonna keep up with the show? John, I know you saw some of the anime. You gonna keep up with the live action version?
Yeah, I think I'll give it a couple more and see where it goes. It's probably one that I'll watch until I get to a point where I either feel like it's worth watching or I don't. I don't know. It seems like, of course, it's but I don't know. It just seems like it's worth investigating a little bit more at this point.
And Kyle?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I would say I'm interested in it and I want to keep watching more. I don't know if I'm going to do it right away, but
Yeah.
I will. I think it's in the rotation and I'm going to come back to it at some point. It could
Yeah.
be a good train watching show.
Yeah, I'm with you, because right now it's like I have so much to catch up on that I don't know if I have the time. But it's if I do have the time and I catch up, I'll definitely check out more of this. Let's see, We're Ducky in the chat said there was definitely a lot of good with a lot of weird. I'll agree with that. But all right, that is it. Yeah, Music's also saying I'm interested in it. All right, so we got a lot of opinions on Cowboy Bebop. But that's it for this week. Next week we have some choices. We're figuring out what we're gonna do. We'll have to talk offline. We have some things we could talk about. Always Sunny, season 15 is dropping tomorrow. Maybe we'll talk about that. A bunch of movies have come out in the last week or two. Some are streaming, some are in theaters. We'll see what we're gonna watch. House of Gucci, Licorice Pizza, King Richard, Tick Tick Boom. There's a lot. We could maybe just do a quick roundup of some movies, and then Succession. The finale's coming up. We may not be able to discuss the actual finale because the week it does come out, we have this other big show, which leads me to our yearly wind down survey. 2 weeks from tonight, we're going to reveal your favorite movies, television shows, and pop culture moments from the past year, which means you got to vote. We launched the survey today. You have to vote so we have some answers, because we need to know what you guys think were your favorite things from 2021 here. You can find this survey on the same spot where you can find what we're going to talk about on the podcast. So it's all in one spot. You can get the link there. Go to Twitter, go to Instagram at Dual Redundancy. Don't bother with Facebook. Or
We're in Facebook jail.
Yeah, we broke the law with Jingle All the Way. God forbid people talk about Jingle All the Way, and it's a federal crime, I guess. And Facebook, we got it reinstated. But you know what? I'm not giving them. This is it for them. This is their one free ad, and then we're talking about Twitter and Instagram instead. But Twitter, Instagram, you can get the survey link there. And then, episodes of the podcast are on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the blog, doredundancy.com. And of course, twitch.tv/doredundancy, 8 p.m. Eastern. That's where we're at. We got 2 more for 2021. And then that's it for the year. So get them in when you still can.
Wild.
That's all we got, guys. I got to thank both you guys for joining me tonight, talking about all these different shows and, just just doing what you do. And for John directing the show, couldn't do it without you guys.
Sure, man.
All right. Until next time, I'm David Allen.
John Berwick.
And I'm Kyle Bridger.
And that's all we got for Dual Redundancy. Goodbye, everybody.